How many more Omarions do we have on that roster? It is possible that we go 10-2.
Bandwagon Buffs, man. Hell of a game. 2 went for 500. BWB. Bandwagon Buffs.
That's right. Buff Nation, what up? BWB, my bandwagon Buffs. What it is, what it does, and what it's gonna be. It's your man's Harry Billion. Welcome to the Liberian Perspective. Please do me a favor and smash that subscribe button. Make sure to give me the thumbs up. And don't forget to hit that bell notification so that you can get the videos as soon as I upload it to YouTube. All right, family, I gotta go ahead and get into this video real quick, so that's all the business I got. You know what time it is. Let's work. If you read between the lines and you really understand how to dissect the information or the data, as I like to put it on this channel, you can see that Colorado has a really good team. Now, their identity and how they show up each and every week is still being formed. They're still trying to figure out their identity. I know on this channel that they have the talent to compete week after week with any team, whether it's Oregon, USC, or Utah. I know that they can compete. I have them losing 4 games, and I believe they're going to be 8-4 this season. But the only thing about that prediction is it was a preseason prediction based on what was on paper. Now, after 5 games of seeing them play, I personally feel like they had the opportunity and they definitely have the talent to win a lot more games. Now, the USC game was very close. I had us losing that game. I initially had us losing to Oregon, but I did change my prediction. We did catch the L. Now, let me talk a little bit more about how good this team really is. There's a lot of different takeaways. If you are a Colorado fan and if you invest as much time as I invest in this team, already crunching the data, understanding each player's ability, then you really know the real potential. The way that we got beat at Oregon was not the identity of this team. I feel like they got spooked or something, because how do you come from Oregon, number 9, go to USC, number 8, and then you put up a fight? That same fight, that same ability that you put up against USC, you had that same ability to play Oregon and play them well. There's no way that should have took place. Maybe USC's defense is not as good as Oregon's defense. There's a lot of different things that we can actually look at data-wise to let us know something changed. I don't know how many of you guys skipped the videos where I said Shedeur needs to fix these few things or we're going to lose more games. A lot of you may see that title and it may turn you off, so you may have skipped the video. But we're starting with Shedeur. I don't know how many of you got to the part where I said that Shedeur was top 3 quarterback in college football. If you take a look at the landscape of college football right now, I'm going to show you this stat right quick. All right, so let's take a look at this stat. Passing yards through week 5. Shedeur is currently behind only Michael Penix Jr. of Washington. That's also in the Pac-12. 1,781 yards to Michael Penix's 1,999 yards. And as the narrative goes, they have not played their best football yet. But I have to now caution myself and say, well, we can't not keep saying they haven't played their best football yet, because week after week, for some reason, when they play really good teams, it's hard for them to show up in the first half of the games. That's yet to be seen. If they put it all together in all of the phases, I feel like this team is one of the toughest teams to beat right now because of the talent. We're looking at Shedeur. Shedeur is top 3 quarterback. Nobody expected Shedeur to have the second most yardage after week 5, because everybody was saying he's coming from a HBCU and he may not translate at this level. So far, he's translating. If you take a critical look at Shedeur's game, 1781 should not be the number. I feel like it should be like 2,500 to 3,000 because of the little things that I'm talking about. The first half, all of the numbers that Shedeur could have had in the first half, if you really think about it, if you look at the games that we've lost, we're 3-2 right now. The numbers that Shedeur is putting up is not necessarily the numbers that I know that Shedeur can put up. We got Dylan Edwards. Hankerson just came alive. We haven't seen Alton McCaskill yet, so we don't know what's going on there. I'm sure they're just doing personnel management. They want to make sure that he's all the way healthy so that he doesn't come back way too early and then get hurt easily, because you get hurt again, that's going to be a blow to your psyche and your confidence. Whatever they're doing there, I trust them. Let them handle that. After 5 games, the only game that we were able to actually open up the run was the USC game. So now they understand that, oh, if we establish the run, this is all possible. We figured it out too late. We figured it out in the second half. Colorado comes out in the first half and really pound the run. Whether it works or not, you got to sell the run. Stick with the run. Keep working it out. You get 2-3 yards here and there. Before you know it, that defense is going to start getting spooked. The hidden talents, the hidden gems. It seems as if every single week we're seeing a new player come alive. Colorado has so many secret weapons that even after week number 5, we're still getting players who are coming alive and dominating on this level. We're getting new stars every week. Colorado has not exhausted its entire staff when it comes to players. Players who have the capability, players who have the mobility, players who have the skill set to really be game breakers. We know that there are players in that locker room that when they touch that ball, it can happen. But there are some preliminary things that they have to establish in order for that to happen. If you take a closer look, week number 1 and 2, the people that stepped out that were the stars of week number 1 and 2 have been playing their game, but they haven't been the game breakers. They still have game breaker ability in them. Our injuries. I believe Coach Prime says Savion is injured right now. He wants to get back in the game. He's one of our biggest guys on that line. Okay, so we got him out. Then we got Shiloh out. And obviously we have Travis Hunter out, who is our two-way weapon. We're still yet to find out how we do when we are all the way healthy playing some of these bigger name schools or playing some of these more powerful teams. We don't know that yet. But the takeaway from that is we're playing freshmen, we're playing guys that were not the starters, and we are hanging in there with USC. This team is deeper than we know for sure because guys step up when they're called upon. I've asked the question, how many more Omarions do we have on that roster? I feel like we have a lot more Omarions on that roster, and the coaches need to dig deep in there and find them. The next games that are coming up are not going to be get-me games. We're going to have to make sure that our defense can get to the quarterback. That is so very important that our defense can get to that quarterback a lot more. They're spotting us 3 points. We're going to have to earn those 3 points because these teams have been watching tape. This is going to be game number 6. You got 5 weeks to look at the defense and see where they're weak at. They're going to be prepared. Every team from now on is going to be prepared to play the Colorado Buffaloes. We are in the middle of the season. This is only a 12-game season. A lot of teams know how to exploit our defense. They know our weaknesses. Coach Prime said that Travis may be out another 2 to 3 weeks. That puts us way deep into the end of the season. Like, that's 8 games in. Like, he's only going to come back for the end of the season because our offense is so good. Our defense, if they can get a few stops and try to keep up and keep the scores down, we have the ability on offense to frustrate them so that they start making mistakes. I'm going to repeat this. The team that makes the most mistakes is always going to lose the game for the most part. We've made a lot of mistakes and luckily we've come away with some wins. These teams now have tape on us and it ain't going to be as easy as the first 3 games that we had. If we're going to beat Arizona State, we're going to have to make sure that the defense shows up in the first half. We cannot go down 21-0 and trying to fight back. We got to compete in that first half. Clock management is going to be another thing. We have to make sure that we manage the clock a little better, especially when we're down. We got to start understanding that the ball has to move a lot faster. This is our schedule. Here's who we got left. October the 7th, we have Arizona State. The 13th, Stanford. October the 7th and the 13th, these are 2 games that we are expected to win. According to Vegas and according to the statisticians, these 2 games we should win. This is what it's looking like right now for the Pac-12. USC, number 1, Oregon, number 2, Washington, number 3, Washington State, number 4, Oregon State, number 5, Utah, number 6, Arizona, number 7, Cal, number 8, UCLA, number 9, Colorado, number 10, Arizona State is number 11, and then we have Stanford, number 12. So this is where it stands currently. Arizona is 3-2, just like we are. Cal is 3-2. UCLA is 3-1. The number 1 team we gave a problem, and then we're playing the number 11 team. According to the way that we played USC, if we can show up like we showed up in the second half, we should be able to run and I would say beat the rest of these teams that we have on this schedule. It makes a lot of sense. We should be able to compete and beat a lot of these teams. There's no reason why we would give number 1 41 points. First half, they scored 14 points. Second half, 20 to our 14, 14 points to our 13. And then in the fourth quarter, we outscored them 14 points to 0. by these numbers, if you look at these numbers solely, that means that the schedule that we have here, we should be able to compete with these teams, stick with these teams, and be able to pull out a win eventually. That's what the data says. Now, obviously, as I always say, we're not delusional. Every team is going to have a different style of defense. Their personnel is going to be different. The way that they cook is going to be different. They're not all going to play the same. We were thinking that CSU was going to be a cakewalk. They were not. So if we're thinking, oh, Arizona State's going to come in here and lay an egg, think again. Arizona State is not coming in here thinking to lay an egg. They want to beat us too. They definitely want to beat us. Right now, we are 0-2 in our conference. And Arizona State is not playing around. They're rebuilding with Kellen Dillingham, just like we're rebuilding with Coach Prime. But I feel like our talent pool is a lot better than their talent pool. This game should be a win. By the time we get into this part of the schedule, by the time we get into November, we should have Shiloh back. We should have Travis Hunter back. Savion will be back. If you look at our talent, if you look at our potential and the identity that we are forming, Kamani McLean becoming a man now, stepping up, and then Travis Hunter come back, both of them at each end, locking it down. It is possible that we go 10-2. It's very possible. I don't see a reason why we don't go 10-2. So my whole 8-4 thing could be blown out the window because I know that we got the talent. It's there. We have the talent when those boys wake up and play in the first half. I would say we should be back on these rankings within a few weeks. We should get back up here because if we're able to pull out some of these wins, we should be back up here real soon. Because look, Ole Miss give LSU 55. This would be LSU's second game that they have lost. Georgia barely escapes Auburn, 27-20. Georgia might catch an L. You never know. Georgia is 5-0, Michigan 5-0, Texas 5-0, Ohio State 4-0. Then you have Florida State. So yeah, so if we can show up and beat the current number 15 team, then we'll be ranked again. We should be ranked for the rest of the season. Go to Utah, we go to Washington State, and I think we're going to do well. I believe that we have the ability to run the board. That's just how I feel. Week after week, new players stepping up to show their ability. That means we have depth. We have the personnel there. They just have to go to practice on time. They just have to show up to the meetings on time. They have to do what Coach Prime is asking them to do. Just do your job. Go to practice and just show out. If everybody can go to practice and show out, we can see more players. But right now, Coach Prime is holding to his standard. He's not going to let it go. He's already said, I'm not changing. You got to change. So maybe with Omarion showing out, with Cormani showing out, maybe some of those kids that are not performing that well in practice, maybe they'll start stepping up and we'll see more players and we can start seeing what we really have in our locker room. Because I strongly believe we haven't seen the best of Colorado yet. Even though we're now in the middle of the season, can you imagine if Colorado puts it together in week number 6 going forward? We can go 10-2. That's what I believe. All right, family, that is all the information that I have for this video. Hope you got a little something out of it. And if you did, please help this channel grow by smashing that subscribe button. But I'm going to have to leave it right there. You know who I am. I'm Harry B. And that right there was the Liberian Perspective. That's TLP Sports Club. Brah.